A woman was hanging on the cliff with her eyes wide open. She was in a hurry, so she looked up and saw that the sea was hanging in the middle of the cliff. She couldn't hold on to the branches, but she grabbed the rock in time. She climbed up desperately and didn't even dare to look down. She must live for the baby in her belly. Finally, she climbed up a protruding step. This made her breathe a sigh of relief. She told herself to calm down. Her husband and girlfriend would come to save her. Unknowingly, her husband and girlfriend threw her off a cliff in a daze. The purpose was to take over the company and monopolize women's property. But she didn't die. At this time, the woman was woken up by the rain. She drank a few sips of rainwater. She thought that her best friend and her husband had also fallen off the cliff. But when she thought about it, she was clearly walking in the middle of the two of them. When she thought of this, she suddenly cried. I didn't expect the two most trusted people to kill her. But she didn't have time to be sad because she had a sister at home. Since the scumbag dared to do it to himself, he would never let his sister go. And at this time, the scumbag and his best friend had already taken the position of his wife to the board of directors. The pretentious chairman cried and left the room. The scheming best friend urged the man to cheer up. The chairman's parents died, and his sister was still so young. She is now the only pillar of Jung's group. She must cheer up and take over the company. Finally, she stepped into the theme and the man didn't pretend. So she asked the shareholder to vote to decide whether to hand over the company to her. As a result, the sister of the chairman arrived in time at the critical moment. Let me see who dares to agree with Jung's group. I'm not sure if my sister is dead or alive. What are you doing? The scumbag was pretentious and failed to protect his wife. Unexpectedly, his sister-in-law is not a vegetarian. She scolded him for having time to cry here. It's better to hurry up and find him. But the scumbag refused on the pretext of the typhoon. He said, who will be responsible for everyone's accident? The little girl threw the scumbag away. You don't look for it, do you? Okay, I'll take someone to look for it myself. Then he called someone right away. And the woman at this time was very hungry. As a result, he looked up and found wild mountains. But he couldn't reach it no matter how many times he tried. Finally, he pulled off his belt and finally broke his fingers. That's why he got a little bit of strength. Looking at the small steps, he began to loosen after being soaked in rainwater. He couldn't sit still anymore. But there was a rock underneath and he would die. He could only find a way to climb up. Looking at the vine not far away, he quickly climbed up. His hands were full of blood. He couldn't stand it anymore. But then his stomach started to hurt again. And the scumbag on the other side observed the little girl's every move through the monitor. The little girl believed that her sister was so strong and she must be alive. She also guessed that her sister's disappearance had something to do with her brother-in-law. The little girl was very suspicious of them. So the scumbag had to send his sister-in-law to be buried with his wife. So he found his sister-in-law and knelt down directly. He said that he had another reason to stop him at the shareholders meeting. Now he went up the mountain with his sister-in-law to find his wife. So they came to the mountain together. The little girl ordered everyone to separate and expand the scope. The scumbag immediately made an eye contact. Let the scheming woman deliberately hold the assistant who followed her sister. Then the scumbag took the opportunity to kill his sister. And the woman at this time was still hanging on the cliff. He took a break for a while and continued to climb up. As a result, he looked up and found a cave not far away. This made the woman finally see a little hope. She tried hard to climb up, but she found that the hole was on the top of the shoe.